The Nikki Glaser Podcast. The Nikki Glaser Podcast.
Here's Nikki.
Hello, here I am. Welcome to the show. It's the Nikki Glaser Podcast. Exciting day on the show. Welcoming back to the show. She used to be a regular on it. She's been away for a bit. She's back. She has a new album out. You just heard her voice. Before you even heard mine, it's Anya Marina. She's with us today via Zoom.
So
What's
happy
up,
to be
Anya?
back. What's
so
up?
happy you're here. Noah and Brian are also here. I'm in St. Louis in my studio. Noah's in Arizona. Brian's in LA. Anya's in New York. We're holding down all of the time zones. Wait, are you Mountain Time Zone, Noah? I forget what Arizona does. Right
I have
now.
no idea what time zone Arizona
doesn't
is.
do anything, I thought.
Oh,
I know. So what does that mean
time
for them
zone.
right now? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
what
just
time
go
zone are
by
you in?
your time. So I'm in Central Time mentally.
would be in
But
Mountain
what is
Time.
it? What time is it to you right now?
It's 9:10 a.m.
Oh, okay,
you're-
you're Pacific.
Yeah, Western time. Yeah,
Okay,
there's
so
also
we don't have Mountain
time.
Time represented today.
Yeah, no Mountain
But
time.
shout out to all those people on the slopes right now. I don't even know if they're on the slopes right now. It is fucking 86 degrees in St. Louis. It's October 31st. I think we set a record yesterday for the highest temperature ever this late in the game.
Oh, good.
How's
Crazy.
the weather where you guys are? Is that interesting? No, let's skip it. Wait, unless it is. Is it interesting?
not.
The weather is not interesting over here, but I'm excited that we keep breaking new records. I mean, we're an amazing streak.
It's so fun. USA.
Yeah.
USA. Yeah, that is kind of, it does make climate change fun when you are like breaking records. It
We got
sounds like the Olympics.
Yeah, we broke the record for fastest death of the world.
Yeah.
There
I
was
can't believe
some
more people
good
aren't
news
dying
I read, though.
of- climate news?
Yeah, I can't
Oh.
tell you
What?
right now what it is, but I do remember seeing it on Instagram, which is where I get my news. That
There was
like,
something good
there
happening.
was something good. Yeah,
Oh,
okay.
like the algae was eating up the carbon
Something
in
like
the
this
ocean
is the
or some
first
shit.
time in many years that the planet actually isn't getting hotter. I don't know. I scrolled
That
back
sounds
can't
like
be
bullshit.
true, but
Yeah.
that absolutely can't be true. It's
Who posted that? JD
it was
Vance?
science. It was really like science. I can look it up.
The thing that always kind of relaxes my body when I get tense about climate change is that when people go, no, the planet's totally fine. Don't worry. The planet is good to go. We're dying. We're going to die off. It's heating up like a fever does when your body gets a fever. It's trying to fight an infection. We're an infection that it's trying to fight off. And it's just going through its naturals, and all life will probably die off. But we will actually, no, not all.
No. Especially
Because
in like the deep
even
ocean.
when the asteroid hit back in
1988.
what year was that? When that fucking thing hit that I read about in the New Yorker?
2024?
Nobody knows the actual year.
Well, that's what I was setting up for. Anya's album is called Asteroid, so another asteroid just hit
What a great
last
segue.
week. It dropped.
Damn.
Anya's album's called Asteroid, which is like the coolest name for an album ever.
Yeah.
It's how did you decide on that being the name? I think I was like in the car with you maybe when you were like, should it be
Yes,
this or this?
I think
or?
so too. Well, there's a song on there called Asteroid that's about like just being depressed and walking out into nature and just being like, fuck everything. When you have a fight with somebody and you're just like, how have I done all this
When you
work
have a
on
fight with Matt
myself?
Pond.
Yeah.
With somebody.
My husband.
It's a very specific song to relate to. Yeah. Okay. So when you have a fight with someone and you walk out into nature and
When you're just like, have you ever had this where you're like, how am I in the midst of a fight like a 7-year-old? And I've done so much work on myself. How is that possible?
And then you go out in the woods and you think about how all the dinosaurs are dead and what's the point?
Totally. I go into nature a lot. I need to go on walks a lot. And so I went for a walk this particular day and was just like, oh, I just want to fucking get hit by an asteroid or something. And I was thinking about that, like just picturing like laying down in a field and staring up at the sky. And sometimes that puts me in a good mood. And sometimes I like the eeriness of it. There's a line in the song about like the asteroid coming right for me. So I like that it could
Like it
be
hits you
positive or negative.
specifically?
Maybe.
that used to be my childhood fear. I wouldn't like to go look at the stars in Michigan. We would go to Michigan and it's so dark up there. Like there's not a lot of light around you. So at night you can see all the stars. It's like so cool to go out and sit on the dock. It's so dark. And I used to be terrified too, because if I was scared one of the shooting stars was gonna like fall on me. Same with fireworks. But like, what a
That's crazy because they could
How-
like all those things could fall on you during the day too, or anywhere.
yeah. And also, who do I think I am that's going to hit me? Like, I think that's why when people say I'm going to die in a plane crash, I always go, "You're not special enough." And someone told me that recently that I said that to them years ago, and they were like, "It helps me all the time because you harshly were like, you're not that special that you're going to be the one that gets to die in like a passenger jet crashing, like one of the only ones that's happened in this."
Who do you think you are, Kobe?
Yeah, well, that wasn't a
Yeah,
passenger jet. I mean, like people who fly Southwest, Delta, United, like those flights don't go down, you guys. Like in America, like maybe like Malaysian Air, I'm Egypt Air.
Who do you
no
think you
offense,
are?
but
A
I feel
person
like-
from Singapore?
well, those flights, I'm not being racist when I say this, but like I feel like most times when I hear about a passenger jet going down, it's
in Malaysia or
it's
Singapore.
not in the United States.
No, it's not. I mean,
It's
at least
not.
for now.
I've researched it. I mean, there have been ones. There was one right after September 11th that got no love because we were still like about September 11th. And then as soon as we realized it wasn't a terrorist attack, we were like moving on, but it crashed in Long Island.
Yeah.
There was one.
But to be fair, that plane was filled with people from Malaysia. Which is,
You're really pushing the Malaysia thing.
Stop. I just meant like, if you're a scared traveler and you're scared of flying, truly think about that. Like you're not that important. It's like that's going to happen. You're not going to win the lottery. You're not
going to
like,
die of cancer or heart
like
attack
the
just
rest
like
of
everyone else.
us.
But
So
it's such a
relax.
normal childhood thing. I remember when I skipped school one day and I was like, oh, TV still happens when
Right.
I'm at home?
Yes, because you are still learning that like you don't know that other people have experiences. What is it called when you like learn that as a child? I think I've asked
Object
this on this
permanence?
podcast a million times. Yeah.
Object permanence?
My dog also doesn't have object permanence. That's why we can all do those TikTok challenges where you like put up a sheet and then your dog is looking at you and then you run in another room and you drop the sheet and the dog is like, "Wah, ah, ah." One of my favorite things is when I take my dog to the park off leash and she's just kind of like getting a little brazen. I'm like, oh, she hasn't checked in on me in a little bit. And then I run behind a tree and I watch her like sniffing something. And then I see her go to like, oh, where's my owner? And then like go to look. And then she's like, ah, ah, ah. And then she freaks out and starts like trotting around. It's so cute. It reminds me that I'm special and that I'm loved and that she does care. And do you ever
when
do that,
she
Anya?
does that,
with
you
Willa?
think like maybe one day I will die in a plane crash.
Yeah.
Yeah, it reminds them who's boss too. Matt and I always like play dead around the house, which is fun. Or we'll hide and we'll see how good her sense of smell is. We'll like hide in the basement and pretend we're dead. It's probably mean.
Pretend you're dead is the weird part of it. I think hiding is one thing, but that you have to put in like you're dead. Like you want to see if your dog would be sad if you died.
Yeah, my sister and I used to do it to my dad all the time too. Like
Yeah,
every
I was
time
going to
he'd
say
come
this is
home,
a
we just-
childhood thing. Like, daddy, let me know that you
Daddy.
care. Daddy. Yeah, when you're a kid, you're just like so selfish. You don't know about that's why it's so amazing when there are like little kids that do like a food drive or like they like earn money for the local animal shelter. When kids like have a heart, it's so beautiful. And because it's not really that natural for them to like, I mean, I think for them to be caring and sweet, but like for them to like think about the world, a bigger world than themselves is, I mean, for anyone to do that is fucking rare. I mean, anyone who like my assistant, I'll sometimes say like, hey, can I get this information? She's like, oh yeah, I'll do it when I get home. And then she's like, sorry, I was volunteering. I'm like, what?
Where?
She volunteers at a soup kitchen.
Wow.
Like a local shelter and like sorts food and hands out food. And she was like, it was a rough day today. I had to leave early. It was just like too sad. Or like there'll be moments where she says that, but like she and Noah, you worked at
A community
garden?
garden. Yeah. Where they
So
grow
good.
food for unsheltered.
Yesterday, Matt and I decided
so
we were
nice.
going to volunteer at the local voting center, but we did that out of selfishness because we were like, these people are slow. It was such a
No,
long
it's-
line. So he's like, next year we're volunteering and we're going to do this just to keep this efficient.
I have
Moving
two
along.
friends.
Next
who-
year when the election doesn't feel as important. When you kind of forget to even vote next year. What
I
do you
have two
have
friends who do that on Long Island. They volunteer at the election. Steinman and Olive. Ooh, you know Steinman.
Oh yeah, I remember him from.
Yeah, and they do it every year, and it's just so poorly organized and run. It's like very difficult when you're volunteering to even like make it better. because it's just they need you. They desperately need volunteers, especially now that all the election interference conspiracies. The people who do this are actually somewhat in danger. But
Yeah.
it's really the system is not efficient.
Oh, really? I'm just
Not
kidding.
efficient.
It's a week from now is going to be a different world. I don't
my
even
God.
know. I'm I think I'm going crazy. I think I'm starting to have a pre PTSD or something.
Yeah.
Pre-panic attack. Well, do you
Yeah.
think next week we'll have certainty?
No.
No. I mean,
Well, we
yes.
will. We'll know
I think
what- we'll
someone
know.
will. So one side will, and then hopefully, and then I think there will be if things go the way I would like them to. I think there will be. It'll still be scary, but if they go the other way, I just literally don't know what my body will do. I mean, I don't know what the world will do, but I don't know what my physical body will do. After the first time it happened, I remember my mom was so upset. I sent her flowers, but I was like, it's going to be okay. It's just, it was a new kind of fear. And now it feels like I'm going, I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what
sent
to
your
say.
mom flowers?
Yeah, because she was crying all day when Trump won. She couldn't stop crying. And
Oh.
I,
She's so happy.
and I also just
Tears of joy.
I think my mom, it might kill her. I'm not even joking you. If you care about Julie Glaser living, will you please vote for Kamala? Because I think it will kill her. I'm emotionally. She is so upset about him that if he wins, the way she reacted last time 8 years ago, it was. I just don't know that it's going to be okay for her. I'm really worried about her body breaking down because she was so upset. I didn't even think about that till now. Maybe that's what I'm worried about is what my fragile mom will do.
We can't have Kamala in office. She wants to give trans surgeries to rapists in jail. Haven't you heard?
Wait, no, I
That's
thought
her number one
the
thing?
trans rapists are going to come into the schools and do the surgeries during recess.
To the kids.
Yeah, with their teeth.
Well, that's what.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, that's the second
I haven't
phase.
been
That's
on
what
a
was happening.
podcast
That's
in a
the
while.
second
This
phase.
is what's the new
No,
tone.
they really. He's really saying that they are. He said on multiple speeches that they are giving trans surgeries to kids in elementary school. That your kid will leave Jimmy and come home Jane, which is there's. It's never happened. It will never happen. Kimmel last night was great because he was like, please just send this monologue. This is for your Republican friends. No Republicans are going to watch it. No fucking.
No.
It's just there's no chance of that.
No,
but
they're Adam
it
Carolla
was-
fans, not Jimmy Kimmel.
But it was just interesting because I don't watch his speeches and I don't really pay attention to all the things he says because how can you? He goes on for 4 hours every speech and half his audience even fucking leaves, people that like him. So how are people that don't like him supposed to listen to all of it? But they had a really, if you just want to hear some of the craziest shit that's being said right now that you might not be aware of because it just is a bed of nails and it just all seems too much. And you're like, oh, there's no way you said, it's crazier than you even think. It's just, it's so upsetting. But in a week from now, it'll just be more upsetting, and that'll be great.
It'll take longer than a week. We're not going to know on Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday. It's going to go into the next week for the swing states, I bet, just like last time.
Yeah. Well, Sam
That's
Harris.
what I think is that we'll be uncertain. Or I just hope we're not, but because that's such an uncomfortable place. Just in life in general.
You think
I
it's going to be so
hate
close? It's going to be
uncertainty.
uncertain?
Yeah, they're going to be
Yeah.
counting those votes and contesting those votes.
I don't think it's going to be close.
You think it's going to be a blowout? You're going the
I hope
Bob
so.
Castrone method?
Yeah. One of our writers on the NFL thing we did last week, we were all kind of like, what do you guys think? I'm always scared to ask a group of people, what do you guys, because everyone's paying more attention than I am of the people I hang out with. So when I ask them, I'm always just brace for impact. And Bob Castrone, good friend, head writer on Not Safe, Nikki Glaser, is positive it's going to be Kamala's going to win the landslide. And I was really happy to hear that. And then everyone was kind of on board. And then he said something and everyone was like, oh, bullshit. But it just
And then
the house of cards fell.
and she's going to win Texas. And we're like,
Oh
you're
yeah,
a
that's
dumbass.
right. And you guys go, fuck
You're no
you.
shit, Bob.
All I know that if you live in Missouri, please vote yes on Amendment 3. Protect women's rights to have autonomy over their own bodies. Vote yes on 3. That's very, very important for everyone to keep everyone safe. And I think both sides really do agree. They've done a lot of polling, and both sides kind of agree on the fact that women should have access to safe abortions. I
don't think we should be able to vote for any federal offices, honestly. Like I live in Culver City, which is only 18,000 to 20,000 people. It's like a small town. It's like smaller than the town I grew up in, even though it's in the middle of LA. And we get to vote for Culver City City Council. And like the stuff that you're like debating about which council members to pick is like which stop signs to put up, and like what we're gonna do with like the homeless encampment outside the Sprouts. It's like these little small.
Wait, why shouldn't you be voting on that stuff?
I think that's the best stuff to vote for.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Instead of voting for like
on a federal level.
Who's your senator, it's like that doesn't fucking matter.
Yes, it does.
It doesn't fucking matter.
Brian, I think it does. Do not start this it doesn't matter bullshit to vote.
Listen, everybody, just jump in a lake.
Go into the woods and look for an asteroid.
Yeah, you were talking about what we were saying when things are not certain, uncertainty, when things can go either way. You hate it.
Can't stand it.
Like, do you have an example of like your
hate
own
waiting
life?
for an email reply? Hate like waiting on an answer of any kind. Really difficult to tolerate the uncertainty of life. I mean, go back to dating. Like, I know it's been a long time for you since you were single. There is nothing worse than waiting for a text back. It's just like hell. You're just like, fuck.
It's thrilling. It makes you feel alive. It makes you like, it gets your heart racing. When it finally comes through, there's like an exciting moment. Like, I don't really get much of that in life anymore. Like, news comes in of like, you're going to host the Golden Globes, and it's fun for a second. And then it's like, oh boy. Gotta work. But like when a guy texts you back, it's never like, oh no, I've gotta work. Like it's just like, oh, this will be fun. There's no like, getting jobs is always it's great news, or getting an assignment or something, a payday coming up. But then you're like, oh, there's work attached, but not with crushes. That stuff is so fun.
It can be. Yeah, that's true. But I mean, there's a reason they call it a crush too, because it can also be so painful.
Is that why they call it a crush? Yeah, probably it is.
I think because you're just like, it is fun, but it can hurt too. Or it doesn't always go your way either. It can be like, oh, they're dating somebody else, or they're not writing me back. Or
it doesn't ever go your way until it does go your way. Yeah. And even when it does go your way, like then it's a whole other slew of things that'll happen.
Or like I'm sure there are actors listening that have auditioned for something and it's just hell waiting to find out. Did you get it?
You can't even wait. Like if you're an actor, you should just audition and forget about it, because the chances of it happening are the same chances as you dying in a plane crash.
Yes, totally. That's why I like football. You just move on. I'm always like, like I've talked about it before, but I'm always like, that guy is so embarrassed. Is that kicker so embarrassed that it like hit the pole? Like he has literally one job, and it like didn't go. Like it's never changed. Like the distance changes, but like just kick it as far as you can that way, and then like you are hired and you're paid millions to and you don't do it. Is that guy like is his life ruined now? And what I've heard is like, no, in football you just kind of move on.
Well, they get fired. Like they'll get fired that week.
Oh yeah, you move on to another team, or you move on to a new career. Wait, over the weekend, did you see? I'm sure you watched the Bears game again in the Chargers and saw that. I've heard it was the worst. I listened to the Ringer podcast because I was like going down a deep dive on that play, because it just seemed so insane, and I wanted to understand the insanity, and there was so much talk around it. I watched like a Bill Belichick talking about it. Will you describe that play and tell me why these guys on the Ringer podcast, which is I guess a very popular sports podcast, called it, without hyperbole, the literal worst play they have ever seen in any sport?
Okay, so the thing is, the one guy had the ball.
Yeah, Anya, will
I'll
you
let Brian
describe
take it?
I wouldn't agree with that hyperbole. I've seen worse. I saw worse this weekend. I mean, I guess if you're calling it a play, well, yeah, like the New Orleans Pelicans, who's an NBA basketball team, they lost to the Warriors in the most Shaq. You know Shaq. He was on TNT after. No, it was Charles Barkley. Sorry, they both do announcers.
Yeah,
stuff. Charles Barkley. Yeah, it wasn't a racist thing. I mean, it was just They're just both black men, and I thought it doesn't matter.
Really
which one.
famous black men from the 90s who played professional
Yes,
basketball
yes.
and now are.
So Charles Barkley said that was the most embarrassing loss he's ever seen because
Oh, whoa.
the Pelicans were up by 20 points. The Warriors did not have their best two players, and they were just cruising. And then the way the Warriors, these bench players, these people I've never even heard of them, and I watched the college games. The way that these bench players made the Pelicans their bitch was so embarrassing. It was like they just dominated them for three full quarters.
Was it all of them? Like they all got to share in that embarrassment, but like wasn't the play from the Charger
Well, the reason why that was so bad was because it was so unlikely that they would lose in that fashion.
Sorry, it wasn't the Chargers, it was the Washington Guardians.
It was the Commanders.
Commanders versus Bears.
The good news is, did you know that for the last, I think it was 17 out of 20 elections, when the Washington team, whether it was the Redskins, it used to be the Redskins, now the Commanders, when the Redskins win, the incumbent party, because they're the DC team, the incumbent party wins the presidency. When they lose the week of the election, then the challenger wins the presidency. So because the Commanders won this game, that means that Kamala should win the presidency based on precedent.
Based
Based
on
on
nothing. Based on like a
superstition.
radio station doing like, which bowl is our
But it
dog
has happened
mascot going to
17
eat
out
out
of 20 times.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that's interesting. But okay, this guy threw a Hail Mary pass.
Yeah.
And in the last seconds of the game, and they were going to lose.
Right.
threw
They
a
were
Hail
down
Mary,
by like 4 or 5 points.
and the guy who was going to catch it, or one of the defenders was like talking shit to the crowd, not even realizing that like a play was being made and that a ball was like hurling towards him. The crowd had to be like, dude, a ball. And then they scrambled to stop it. They all all of the defenders like descend on where the ball was. They all go up and hit it. He hits it like a volleyball. One of the players hits it like a volleyball. It just then perfectly falls into the hands of I forget who, a guy in the end zone, and they get a touchdown and they win the game. And it was like from wasn't it from like the 30-yard line, like so far away?
Yeah, it was so far away. It was like 40 or 30-yard line. It was a Hail Mary. It was a last-ditch effort, and the Commanders won. It was extremely disappointing for any Bears fan, and I also had $200
exciting
on the
for
game.
Bears fans too? Like, okay, if you have money on the game, fine, but like
$200, the Bears would win. I was spending that money.
As a sports fan, don't you want crazy shit like that to happen? Like, maybe not, because it's such like a messy play and you're so disappointed. But like, isn't that stuff to me as a new sports fan? I was like obsessed with this because it was so rare and like fucked up, and had so many people were making fun of it. Like that to me was like more exciting than if my team won. But actually, I don't have a team, so I maybe I don't know what that's like.
That one was a little less exciting because it was so unbelievable, and the person who caught the ball didn't have to do anything.
Right.
It would be
but
one thing if he
was just. It was like he was in the stands. Like, like.
And I mean,
hit him on the
he
head.
was there by design. Like that's the way they do those Hail Marys. Is they have a big clump, and then there's always one guy behind the clump to get the tip backs. But like, he really didn't have to do anything. It was just pure stupidity by the guy who just like swatted it up. And luck. And like it would be one thing if the receiver leaped up in the air and like just got a little higher than everyone else and grabbed it down. That's
the point that I think that I was saying maybe is the reason that people don't care, is because it was just all like bad. There was nothing impressive about any of it except the throw.
It was like, well, yeah, the throw was pretty good. Jaden Daniels, who was the quarterback, shouldn't get any credit for that happening. It was pure luck.
But that's to me, I couldn't stop like researching it and trying to find other people's. And then I was like talking to so many sports fans, and no one knew about it. I was like, "Did you guys see that Hail Mary pass?" And everyone was just like, "No, I don't know." Like I talked to so many people or men, I should say, that care about football, and they're like, "No, I didn't." And I couldn't describe it because I don't have the like verbiage for it, but that I was excited about it, but now I'm like, now I'm mad at myself because I get excited about the wrong things. Like, finally I understand football, and it's not even the right thing to get excited about.
That's okay to be excited, but that was an exciting play. It was like a holy shit, but not in a like, holy shit, that was amazing. It was like, holy shit, can you believe how stupid that guy is and how lucky the Commanders just got?
Okay. All right. Well, maybe that's my thing. Is I just like rare, crazy. I like bad performances. I like people, but also at the same time, when it comes to comedy, I do not like watching people bomb. I don't like people like totally missing it and having a really bad showing. I like people being, and I don't even like people being really impressive either. I like to leave the room for that as well. It threatens me, both of them. Okay, we'll be back after this. All right, we're back. Anya Marina has a new album out, Asteroid. You can find it on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your music. You can order the vinyl, and I'm sure is there other ways to order it
CDs
on anyamarina.com?
Yeah.
Do people buying
vinyl.
CDs? I think CDs are the new vinyl. Like Gen Z is like into it.
Oh, is
I don't
that
even know
happening?
How to play a
archaic-
CD
I'm selling
anymore.
a lot of vinyl, and I'd say even more vinyl than CDs, but not all that much more. I'd say it's like 70% of the sales are vinyl and 30 are CDs.
See, like I don't know where people don't have like CD players, like a
lot of people have
retro
car
setup
players
in
still.
their
Still?
cars.
Mm-hmm. Surprisingly, I'm like, where are you guys going to play this? Like a lot of people at shows buy CDs because it's easier to carry around. But
But don't you just plug your phone into the
Dashboard.
car?
I think some
Bluetooth?
people just want
People
something
have old cars.
to put on there. Like Sean O'Brien just bought a vinyl and he's like, I can't wait to put this on my mantle.
Yeah, vinyl
Yeah.
makes sense because it's not just about playing the record. I think it's about having a big, like a portrait kind of thing, like something to frame. But a CD, no one's really framing CDs.
The first time I saw Anya Marina was on a vinyl in your apartment. Before I
Yeah,
ever met
really?
you, Nikki had a prominently displayed Anya Marina album on a
that's
shelf.
true.
And I said, "Who's that?" And she goes, "Oh, don't ask."
Bane of my
It's a long
existence.
story.
Worst roommate I ever had.
Not true at all. Best roommate I ever had. For
Remember
sure.
when we first moved in together and I could not get any fucking furniture together and you were like, I hate to say this, but our house looks like American Psycho because we lived in this weird apartment in New York where all of the kitchen furniture was like industrial, like on the Bear. It's like all like stainless steel, and it really did look like American Psycho in our apartment. Just stainless steel
But why
counters.
was it your problem to get furniture?
Well, you were like traveling a lot, and I was like, I'll get stuff, and I just kept like cutting out pictures and putting them on my vision board or whatever. And you were like, babe, we need a couch. It was 3 weeks in, and you're like, I'm going to IKEA with Sabrina Jalise, and we're getting a couch. And then I remember you're like, well, you just trust me. I'm like, okay.
It was more like, will you just trust Sabrina? Because I wouldn't have gone on my own to do it. I just knew that I like her. She has really good style. And so I just knew I just will get the couch that Sabrina says to get.
And you were so
that's
right.
what
I
we did.
still have that couch. It's in our
No
basement.
way.
Oh yeah,
Really?
I bought an IKEA cover. You can buy covers that perfectly fit this thing on Etsy, and now we just have it's just blue. It used to be this ugly tan color, and now we have a blue one that's ugly. But
Right, now
the shape is right.
That's so funny. You still have that couch. Yeah. That was a good situation we had. I loved being roommates. It was so fun.
It was so fun. I really miss having somebody to bounce things off of every day, and I
You
really
have
miss
Matt.
someone being gone a lot of the day.
That's what I was gonna say.
I'm surprised you're
it's,
still friends after living together. I think it's an unlikely story.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
only
that
lived
actually
together
is pretty
like 2
impressive.
years, and then I like missed her so much when she went to LA. You went to Do Not Safe, and that was the
right.
first time I was like, oh, that's right. Like I've always been the friend that travels, and all my friends were always like, I haven't heard from you in months. And then I remember like you went and moved to LA, and I was like, I haven't heard from Nikki in like a month and a half. And I remember I was like, this is before FaceTime. I was like, would you want to Skype? And I remember Skyping with you one day. We did a Skype, and you
that's
were
so
like in the middle of a writer's meeting, and it was so not the right time. And I remember I was just like, I need to give her space. She's working hard.
I don't remember this at all. But I am a friend that if we're not doing the thing where we always see each other, like my friendships are always based on like we're working together or we live near each other. We have like a ritual where we go to a class together or like, and if we're not doing that, like I don't stay in touch. Like it's almost like I miss them so much. I don't want to be reminded that we don't have that thing anymore. So I just like cut it off. Like, and I've hurt some friends' feelings, I think, when I'm like out of sight, out of mind. But
I
girls
relate
chat
to
has
that.
kept
it's
me
really hard.
Oh, yeah.
very much plugged into like
Girls chat's important.
it's the most important thing ever. The other day, Hala was on being like, I don't, it's hard to make friends wherever I am. I'm like, get on girls chat more. It gives you the illusion that you have friends where you are.
Yeah.
I feel I don't like really crave friends when I'm in St. Louis because I have girls. This is the only
Also
time where I'm like
surrounded by
still
family.
enough. But I'm not really like hanging with family that much.
Suffocated by family.
I'm kind of doing my own thing when I'm in St. Louis, like alone most of the time. But I have girls. I'm never alone because I always have the girls chat to go listen to something or put something out there. And
Do you get lonely ever?
yes, I cannot be like if I get home. Like last night, I got home. Was that last night? Jesus fucking Christ! I can't even
Only Murders.
talk to you about my weekend. It's
Same.
just. It
You want to talk to us about your weekend?
I can't. It doesn't even. It doesn't make it. My life doesn't make sense right now. It's so busy. I've asked for it. It isn't interesting. It's just insane how much travel I did this weekend. But I got home last night at 9, and I asked my mom to pick me up in the morning, and she said, I guess. Like I heard that.
Damn.
Like it literally. I guess. And I go, you don't have to. I'll just get an Uber.
You
I
were
just wanted to
literally
see
in like
Goldie.
another country. Like you've been
I was in
bouncing all
Mexico
over.
yesterday morning, and I was like, Mom, I said to my mom and dad, hey, is there any way that you guys could pick me up with the dog at 9:00? I know it's late. I land then. I guess. I go, never mind. Please do not. You're not doing it. And she was like, no, I'll do it. I got nothing else going on. I go, yeah, I know. That's why I asked. Like, why would you? Your dad has tennis. Okay. Does he have tennis till 9? Why doesn't he come? Yeah. Well, he has tennis at 7. It probably goes till 9. Okay. Well, I'll just get an Uber. I'll get Goldie in the morning. I just wanted my dog because I am having a rough day and I want to have a rough night, RUFF. And she was like, I'll get you. Well, I can do it, Nick. I'm just like, this is not the kind this doesn't feel good. Like thank you so much, but no thank you. And then it was just a fight of like, I'm gonna get you. And then she did, and it was nice. But that's I when I get home from the road on a night, and then I get home and I have nothing to do at night, and there's no boyfriend here to like talk to me and watch TV with. I don't know my whole kitchen will get eaten. I will eat until I am ready to go to sleep, and then I will go to I sleep or eat, and I cannot watch TV without eating or talking to someone. So if no one's there to talk to, I will be eating the whole time until I feel sick, and then I go to bed. And last night I watched Only Murders, and I had a lot to say about that to Anya.
Is this
I was
like a new
texting her.
season?
Nope, there is. I'm just trying to watch things for the Golden Globes that are like ubiquitous that everyone knows about that may or may not be. Only Murders is just something that's been around.
Wait, so you've never
since
seen
2021? Never.
Oh, okay.
I
It's
know
really
about
great
it.
to start with season 1 because it's the beginning of a journey that really is very important.
My God, like I knew your impression was good, but until I started watching last night, like I started talking like her to my dog, and my dog was so alarmed and like kind of got scared. I can't do it. That was so honestly, Anya, that was literal AI perfection. It's exactly how she sounds.
It gets worse as the seasons continue. Not worse. If you're listening, Sabrina. No, it just gets more froggy-ish.
It is an interesting show. I like the fact that Steve Martin wrote it. I just think that is so cool that someone in their 70s is still making like a hit TV show and like being so creative. And it really is a creative idea for a show. I mean, this isn't new to anyone. Most people have seen this show. Martin Short is
I didn't
delightful.
even know that. And I've read
Selena
a lot
Gomez
of his
is
books.
beautiful. And
Steve Martin's good too.
Yeah, Steve Martin's Steve Martin is amazing, and I was talking to Gen Z M about it because she was like, "Please, girl, will you please watch Only Murders?" Because she's on season 4, and I desperately here's why I pretend I'm watching it for the Golden Globes. Nikki, shut the fuck up. It's advantageous that it also is probably a Golden Globe contender, and it's nice that I'll watch it. I'm watching it because Martin Short and Meryl Streep are dating, and they fucking got together because of that show.
Oh, I
and
didn't know
it's
that.
so damn cute, and I can't wait to see them fall in love on
Wait,
screen. It's one of my favorite things.
Wait,
You don't know they're dating?
I have so many goosebumps.
People
right
are
now
saying
on my
it's
arm.
Taylor
I
and
did not
Travis
know
for
that.
people who don't like sports.
That's so cute because they have such crazy chemistry, and I'm like getting horned up watching them.
Horned up. They are so cute. They were first spotted like holding hands on the red carpet, I think, at the season 3 premiere. And that was just people were just like, oh, they're just friends. And then a really interesting meme popped up for me. And I don't know if it's true, and I don't mean to speculate, and it's none of my business. But at the Golden Globes last year, I believe, Selena Gomez was talking to Taylor Swift and someone else. I forget who was at the table, and I think it was maybe, oh God, what's her name? I really like her. She's married to that guy that's in a lot of things. Whatever. And you saw Taylor Swift go, no. What? And you see Selena like being like, yes, and she's like, no way, they are, something like that. It was a year ago, or almost a year ago, so I don't remember the context, but it was like something shocking that Taylor was responding to, and it was really like a cute thing, and people trying to lip read and figure out. And Selena like put out a tweet at the time that said, "This isn't what you think it's about."
Everyone
because people
thought
were assuming it was something.
It was Timothy Chalamet and Kylie.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, they thought they were gossiping about Timothy. By the way, Timothy.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I did a Golden Globes promo day, and they made sure that I got it as Timothy Chalamet.
What? No one says that though.
I did both. I was like, can we just get some Timothys in case it's not? But I think it is Timothy. So Timothée Chalamet and Kylie were, I guess, like, kissing and stuff everyone thought they were gossiping about them. And Selena was like, I was not gossiping about them. I was talking about 2 of my friends who are hooking up. Not that it's any of your business. And cut to
so
now,
cute.
we think it might have been she was telling Taylor and this other girl about Martin and Meryl, which would have definitely elicited a no way, oh my God, like. It's so cute. I can't even stand it. After reading his book, if you've listened to the show for a while, you know how obsessed I got with. I became a shorty, and I like became obsessed with Martin Short after reading his book and reading about like how much he loved his wife, and after her death, like how devastating it was, and how like cute he was. Like, oh my God, there's this moment. Okay, so his wife dies, and it's really, really, really fucking sad. Like the book is like stained with my tears, like it's crumpled where like I like couldn't even turn the page because it was like I was crying so much. Then he goes on the Today Show, like I don't know, I'm gonna guess like 6 months to a year after her passing. And Kathy Lee, I believe, he's being interviewed about some animated show he's on or whatever movie. And Kathy Lee is like, let's talk about one of the greatest love stories of Hollywood. You and your wife. Are you still in love? Are you still, she doesn't know about her death. So either she forgot about it or she didn't know, but she's asking him about his wife and how great their relationship is and how enviable it is. And it's one of the great Hollywood marriages. Like they say it doesn't last in Hollywood. You and Nancy have. And he's so cute because he doesn't go, actually, she's passed. He doesn't correct her. He's just like, yeah, I still love her so much. We still are so in love. And he like answers it like that. And then in the book, he explains that like when she said like, is it about communication? He's like something about where he's like, yeah, it's about we communicate like so well. And he said, I wasn't lying because I still talk to her all the time. It was so sweet. And that's my thing. When people go, what makes you cry? It's always when people talk to dead people and say like, it started with Forrest Gump where he's like, Jenny, you'd be so proud of little Forrest. Like that, like was the first time I think I cried about an adult situation when I was a child. And then when dead people leave notes and then people read them later on, those are like my 2 biggest triggers for just instantly weeping is like dead people being like, I want you to go on and have a full life. And like someone's reading a letter knowing that they're going to die, can't handle it. And that was so cute though. And he said though, that it was the first time he realized the power of social media because it was around the time when I guess like Twitter and was taking off or really gaining like popularity. And he said, oh, you know what? That was embarrassing for Kathy Lee, but no one said anything about it and it's not going to be a thing. And then he got in his car, like his town car that they have for him waiting outside. And Steve Martin called him right away, like cackling, laughing and was like, how did she not know? That was so funny. And like had a good sense of humor about it. But he was like, wait, how did you know? And he goes, it's all over Twitter. And he's like, what's Twitter? And it was the first time in his long career since the 60s that something could be like seen that quickly and like become a thing. And it was interesting to even hear about that, about how like back in the day in Hollywood, like rumors took months to start, and like things didn't catch on unless you were watching it live. Like you wouldn't have known about it for a while.
So that's one of the biggest problems with our society.
Yeah.
Is that things just happen so fast and they're gone. There's no build up, there's no staying power. It's there in an instant and it's gone in an instant.
Absolutely. It's both a good thing and a bad thing, I think, because we've talked about before, but whenever I worry about like, oh, what if I have this really bad showing at something, like I can just always tell myself people will forget about it right away.
Yeah.
And then also if it's good, they forget about it right away. So none of it really matters. Like Anya, you were even saying, it's interesting we bring this up. It was before your album even came out, and you were saying, I'm having a depression. Maybe you didn't say the word depression, but I'm grieving it being done, like this big thing that it hadn't even come out yet. I think it was like a week before, and you were like, I'm already feeling a low grade depression about it being like the anticipation it's over.
Yeah, because once an album is out, it's like people consume it really fast, and then it's like, okay, next. Like I just put out a new single, I don't know, like a week ago from the album, which is still on the album. You can hear it.
You are
but
good.
Like, I put out a little visualizer for where the darkness is.
Oh yes.
And now it's been a week since I put it out, and I'm like, I got to put out another thing. And it's like, it's been a week. It's fine.
No, it's not fine, Anya. A week is like an eternity
Yeah.
in social media. You're
and
not
guess
wrong
how
to
long
feel
it
that
took
way.
to write that song, produce that song, mix
Girl,
that song, and master that song.
It's insane. It's not fair. It's the way we consume things. It isn't fair. But you're not wrong to feel that way, because it's kind of accurate that is how fast things are consumed now. Like, do you you're still in like the promo stage though, and still like in like the exciting like releasing, and people like an album comes out, like a movie comes out, people see it and they're instantly like, I love this movie, it's my favorite movie, or I didn't like the movie, I'll never see it again. Albums, like I can listen to an album and I feel like anytime an album comes out, I go like, it's okay. Like it's never instantly my favorite, because a song becomes your favorite upon the 5th to 7th listen.
That's true.
And
it
that
takes repetition.
It takes repetition. And I think that's the only kind of medium that actually does take that long, or maybe with a TV show, like it takes a couple episodes or whatever. But do you feel like that?
No, I mean, I didn't like Mad Max Fury Road until I saw it the second time.
But isn't that true with a song? Like, what do you guys think when you think about your favorite song? When did you know it was your favorite song?
Yeah, with radio, when I was a DJ on the radio, I would be like, oh, I hate this song. I have to play it 30 times a day. And then within a week, I'm like, this is my favorite song. And it's just because you're training your brain.
But it doesn't work that way with TV shows. If you can watch an episode of a TV show. If you don't like it and I show it to you 7 more times, you're not going to like it more. Like, I think that would be rare that you would like it more. Why is it that way with music?
I don't know. It's a great question.
Songs are only like a few minutes, so you can listen to it again and again. That's one theory.
You start hearing more things upon many listens. You'll be like, oh, I didn't catch that before. Actually, when I watch movies a couple times, I'm like, oh, or Succession. We would watch Succession and be like, oh, I never caught that he was alluding to that other thing in the scene. It's all connected.
But I will say that I have known right away with a TV show when it's my favorite. I've known right away with a movie when it's my favorite. Like but with my favorite songs, it is very rare that I know right away. There's 2 songs that I can think of that I was like, these are going to be 2 of my favorite songs forever upon first listen. One of them is Still Summer by Matt Pond, which heard in a cafe, and I Shazammed right away before I knew it was Matt Pond, and was like actually mad it was Matt Pond, because at the time you guys were not like talking and I really didn't like him. And I was like, I texted you, fuck Anya, he's really good. Like this song is like one of the best songs I've ever heard. And then the other song, no one will even believe me.
Wait, but can you give us a hint?
I mean, I don't even know that you would. It wasn't of your generation. I think it was just you were
90s?
A little bit older than me to get this. But let me give you the lyrics not sung.
The theme from Aladdin.
Understand. Wait, hold on. Because I like the way that you're making me move. I like the way you're making me wait. At the end of the night, when you make up your mind, you'll be coming on home with me.
Mariah Carey.
Girl, you know you want it. Girl, you know I've got it. I can't wait to take you home. You know you got it tonight. I don't want to be rude at all. I just want to be with
that's
you, girl.
Frank
Dancing we
Sinatra.
could do alone. My favorite part of the song, can we do what we did last night again? Maybe you and I'd be better friends. Don't you think it's time we went a bit further? Oh, yeah. Every night when we say goodbye, can I help looking in your eye? Wondering why you and I haven't hit it. Can we get it on? And then this is the best. This is the chorus. Kind of something feeling what I did done right. Think about making my move tonight. I can't understand when you're holding my hand and you're holding my body tight. That little thing that when I heard that,
Oh, yes.
I can't,
Oh
like,
my
it felt
God.
like a ball falling downstairs. Can't understand when I'm with the bandana and within the I was obsessed. I heard it in a Best Buy and I was like, what is this? It was Soul Decision. They only had one hit song. And that was one of my favorite songs instantly because of that little thing. And I just knew.
Maybe
Do you
that's
guys
why.
remember?
Maybe it's because in songs you need something
hook.
familiar that's slightly changed so that your brain is surprised by the musicality of it without being so off put that it's not like a pattern you recognize.
Oh, that's interesting.
And so it takes a while for you to get used to hearing that new thing, which you won't like a song if it's just so familiar you've heard it a million times.
I remember in the early aughts,
Yeah.
I heard this shit is bananas. BANANAS. This
That was
shit.
also
and I was
Frank
just like,
Sinatra.
this is a new cool cadence, and it's like bringing up, high school bands and orchestras, and
That's
like it had orchestral roles in it, and I was just like, this is cool. And then everybody started doing stuff like that, and same with like
Chapel
Katy
Roan's doing
Perry.
the same thing right now.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Hot to
History
go.
repeats itself.
Yeah, it's fun when there are like new little trends that happen in music that are like probably old, repeating.
Well, I loved you did an interview with Kate Walsh on Instagram Live that I was watching, and you were talking about how you're on the road with me, so you listen to a lot of Taylor Swift, and how you would never think that Anya Marina would be like listening to this album. You wouldn't think, oh, she's gotten a lot of inspiration from Taylor Swift, but it was one of like, it did change kind of the way you approach writing or lyrics. And I just want you to expound on that because I was fascinated by that and I didn't follow up with you like exactly what you meant by that.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I think I was like, I like that Taylor can be really specific about stuff. And then I started looking at my lyrics and I was like, I've always tried to be a little oblique or like, if you figure it out, and so I wanted to kind of like meet her halfway or like go a little bit closer to that. Like, why don't I tell more personal stories? And I did, like in Nothing
And why
Lasts.
do you think that was? Was it just not the trend when you started in music, or
Maybe.
it wasn't like the music that you liked? Like you were really inspired by like Liz Phair. It was like, do you think that's it? Like it would just wasn't trendy.
I was flying into Chicago at night, watching the lake turn the sky into blue-green smoke. That song she has, Stratford on Guy, that I love. Like I would have to pick that apart and like, wait, what does she mean? Okay, she's on an airplane. She's descending. They're about to land in Chicago. Okay, cool. Like I like figuring out what a song is about. I don't like when something's like, and then I went to the store and then I got this. I don't want it to be too black and white, but it's just boring to me, or it's not like as poetic or artistic. It's not like I like one or the other, but I just thought like I could be more vulnerable, and that this album definitely is. It's like I wanted to I would think like, oh, I had a fight with Matt, but I don't want to write that I had a fight with Matt. And then I'd be like, no, you should write exactly how you feel right now.
Why wouldn't you want to, like, I don't relate to that. Why wouldn't you want to write about that?
Because like I wouldn't want to write a lyric that's like, I got in a fight with my boyfriend tonight, which I did not do that, but I did
Well,
talk
what's
about
the lyric that you are like kind of alluding to
I
that
have
you
tried
maybe
to
wouldn't
fix
have written before?
I have tried to fix myself, straighten out the bumps and flatten where I'm bent, heal the parts that needed help. I have tried to fix myself. Spent my whole life growing up, and yet here I am. I'm just a kid with 100 miles to go till I get to where I need to get. In moments just like these, it feels like I left everything that I've ever learned behind. So it's kind of like capturing that feeling of like feeling dejected and like, God, I don't know anything. I hope that comes across
It also
anyway.
feels
like,
introspective rather than blaming and like aggressive towards the person.
and
you
it's
have
not
to
like super specific. I mean, I hope it's a little poetic and
yeah.
It's
It's
very
not
poetic.
Very,
Absolutely.
And you could have said Matt Pine's a piece of shit.
yeah.
And
But
what you did was better than that.
I'm wondering though, like what's the fear of being less poetic? Not that I would want you to be, but like what is something like you just think it sounds like too immature? Maybe
It doesn't interest me.
it doesn't interest you.
I want to
Mm.
make something that interests me.
Got it.
So-
That's the artist's answer.
yes.
That's the way.
I
That's where you
guess.
know you're
I
an
mean,
artist.
Like when I was making my first real major label record that was on Atlantic, I was really interested in rhythms. So there's a lot of like drum loops on that album. Like, so I wasn't so interested in lyrics. I was making songs that are like, like a little more like the ting tings, you know?
Yeah.
And that was interesting to me at the time. But as I've
Yeah.
gotten older, you know, like I'm in a different phase of my life now. I'm thinking a lot about like, where am I in my life? Like, so a lot of the record is just about existence and like we're in a different place now than I was in the early aughts. Like I'm thinking about the planet and I'm thinking about like, are we going to exist? And I'm thinking about that I didn't have children and I got married late in life. And like, I want to make a record for someone else that's like, I haven't gotten married yet either. Do I even need to? I don't know if I want to have kids. Like there are songs on here that talk about that too.
You like made a record for yourself,
Yeah.
which is always the place to write from as an artist. Probably is just not giving people what they want and doing what you want and what interests you.
It's the
But
only
because
way.
it's hard though, because you listen to Taylor Swift, I'm sure, and you're like, this is what's popular, this is what people want. I should like change to that. Whereas you probably found a way to like learn what instead of rejecting it and being like, oh God, this is what's in, this is what I do. What's interesting about this to me? Is there something interesting about the specificity of an Olivia Rodrigo, a Taylor Swift, a Chappell Roan that were you able to find like what you liked about it as opposed to like, oh, this is annoying and new?
Oh
And then integrate
yeah.
it.
I don't mind anything new almost. I mean maybe that's not true, but like you played me what's the one about kid? You're on your own
kid.
You're on your own kid. You're on your own kid blew my mind because I was like, not only is this melodically really pretty, and that has a descending line, so you like that when you were a teenager.
Yeah, that part.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it's called, a descending line.
I think so.
love
It
'em.
kind of goes down. So does Paper Cuts, 1,000 Cuts, Death by 1,000 Cuts.
And Betty, and yeah, I love it.
Yeah. So what You're on Your Own Kid does that kills me. Like you talk about like somebody being kind makes you cry, or somebody like talking about like what killed me in that song is where she says, I went to the party. Do this lyric about the better bodies.
Yeah, I hosted parties.
Starved by body.
I starve. God, I'm so bad at coming up with her lyrics when I don't have the song in front of me. I hosted parties and starved my body like I would be saved by a perfect kiss. The jokes weren't funny. I took the money. My friends
Yes.
from home don't know what to say.
To
I
me,
looked
that's
around.
my favorite Taylor Swift lyric. Like that is so revelatory. Like she's calling herself out. Like I took the money. I don't know. Like to me, that's
she's
just brave to say that.
That's why I love, and we'll go to break after this. I love, and I want to talk more about this when we get back. I'll tell you what I love when we get back
Okay.
after this, because we got to go to break. What I was going to say before we went to break is that I loved, and I've probably talked about it before, Matt Healy from the 1975, not to talk about someone, it has nothing to do with Taylor, but I was listening to him talk about one of my favorite songs, the birthday song, I think it's called. And it became one of my favorite songs. And then I found a whole podcast where he was talking like for an hour about writing this, one of my favorite songs. And that was also a song, the first time I heard it, I was like, I love this. And one of the lyrics in it was like, I want to go somewhere I'll be recognized. can we go? I want to go to a party where, can we go somewhere that people will recognize me? And he said, it's something like that. And he said in the interview about it that he wrote that lyric as kind of like maybe a placeholder. I'm kind of paraphrasing, but he wrote it. And then he instantly was like, I want to take that out. That's so embarrassing. Like, I can't write that in a song that's going to go out, that I am a celebrity that like wants to be recognized. And he said that whenever he has that reaction, he has to leave it in.
Yes.
Like he's forced to, like, he cannot pull something because it's embarrassing or because he wants to look cool.
Yes.
And I really respect that. In
wanted
every
to do
kind of
that
art
too.
form, I'm obsessed when people do something. I mean, that's why I like love comedy. It's because people say things that I'm like, oh my God, you're not supposed to say that. And like, now people like me more because I'm saying this thing that I never thought I'd tell anyone, and is something that's so humiliating about myself. And I get to say how it's said. I get ownership of it. It's, I think that's really interesting. What's a lyric that comes to mind for you in this song that you're like,
well,
I
that's
can't
also
believe I wrote
why
that?
I became friends with you, is I heard you on a podcast talking so openly about an eating disorder. And I was like,
What? I never had one of those.
I was driving around like, I need to hear this. I can't believe someone's talking about stuff I've thought about, and she's not ashamed at all. And then to become friends with you was even like, I can't even believe this is happening. Like that, I get to be friends with somebody that's like, no, of course I'm not ashamed to order a salad the way I want to order a salad. I remember I was like,
Right.
you're so amazing that you could do that. A lyric that I remember, like, I wrote London Blues, which is the closing song on
you
the
wrote
record.
that when we were on tour.
Yeah, we were in London together. You, me,
were
and Chris.
missing Matt.
I was missing Matt, and I was just like, I was experiencing like jealousy or feeling threatened. Like, he was on tour and I was on tour, and we were like hemispheres away from each other in totally different time zones. And it's basically just about all of my fears of being abandoned, like, came up. And I had been in a relationship where I had totally been lied to for many, many years and didn't know about it until the end. And so, all this trust stuff started coming up. And I can't remember exactly if there's like a lyric specifically about that, but it's just basically about like the line I love is, ever since I learned that love could be forsaken, I've been letting go of anything worth taking. I won't be mistaken. So I stare at the moon and fight these London blues tonight. And it's just basically about like, trying to keep people at arm's length, because I don't ever want to get hurt if I just keep people at arm's
Admitting that you
length.
have trust issues.
Yes.
Yeah, which is it's kind of embarrassing to admit at, like, as a fully grown woman.
Yes.
Like, to admit you're still dealing with these kind of immature things that you acknowledge are not helping you in life. Like, you're admitting that you are struggling with stuff, which you literally can't not do that as an artist, unless you're a rapper, I guess. Like, I think a lot of hip hop is about like being braggadocious. Not all of it, but like there is that sometimes cannot have a vulnerability to it. But I'm talking out of line because I don't listen to enough rap to really know like that. But there is a genre of it, I think, that is just all like, I'm doing so well. That's why I really liked Taylor Tomlinson was on Trash Tuesday talking about Sabrina Carpenter, and she was like, I mean, it's great, but I just don't relate to anyone that confident. Like, that's like, you should be so grateful to fuck me. Like, I thought that was such a great take on Sabrina Carpenter's music, of like why it's maybe not so relatable to some people. It's because this girl's just too confident.
Oh, I remember years ago, Kanye West called out all the indie rockers, and he's like, "This is what's wrong with you guys: is you don't have this confidence that we have."
Which
in
is
this
a good thing
world.
to have sometimes. Yeah,
but it's really, really hard to write, or at least it was. I would say in the '90s and early 2000s, it was really hard to write as a. I don't mean to sound like, oh, it's so hard to be white and indie rock, but like if you started writing in a confident way, then it just didn't land right. It just sounded like you were
yeah, because it is kind of to be confident.
Yeah, but when you're in the pop world, like Sabrina, especially now in 2024, like, go for it. It's like all girl power. Like, do it.
Yeah,
she's doing everything with a wink anyway.
I was on stage this weekend and was just talking about how I masturbate or something that was just like, it's part of my act. Like, and when an audience is like my audience, like, it doesn't feel oversharey. It feels like I don't even like I don't have to like steel myself to get into this like very graphic description of how I have my most intimate alone moments. But then I had this moment this weekend where like people weren't really feeling it, and like it was like it's a show I'll talk about when I have more perspective on it in years to come. But it was a set that like was not my favorite thing that I've ever done, and I can't wait to talk about it someday because it's going to be like a part of my origin story of whatever I become, because it was so not fun. But I was on stage like doing my act because I have nothing else to do, you know, like I gotta just do my jokes, and that's one of my favorite jokes to do when I'm on stage performing for people who actually like me, and these people did not. Final thought. And so I'm talking about these people don't like me, and now I'm talking about how I masturbate, and it's kind of graphic and over the top, and I was like, I can't, I feel so embarrassed. I've never once felt embarrassed by that joke. I've never once had the reaction that I think some people have of my material, which is like, how do you get up there and say that to people? And I guess now I know why. It's because usually people like it. People are like, I feel not judged. I feel that people are refreshed by, if it's something that they would never do and never say and can't even imagine someone would do, at least they're laughing at like, oh, wow, I have a weird thing I do alone too. These people were like, we don't like you. We haven't liked anything you've said. And now you're being way too graphic. And why would we don't care about you. Why would we care about this thing that you think you're so quirky and interesting? It just was so fucking humiliating. And
I mean,
had
to
this,
be fair, the crowd at the Trump rally was, you know, mostly.
Honestly, it was right on the heel after that. And everyone was sending me like, going, you know, like every comedian this weekend was having massive text threads about obviously Tony Hinchcliffe's set at the Trump rally, and my response to all of them was, I had a worse set than that. I had a worse experience because I felt more compassion for him than I think most people did after his set, because if I wouldn't have had that set, I think I would have had more of a cattiness about it and a more of like, what was he, you know, like just a snarky opinion. But as a comedian that just hit the wrong tone for the thing that I was asked to do, like I really felt it. I was really happy mine wasn't like televised or tweeted about, thank God. But it was really this moment of like, this is humiliating. Like it would be like, you know, singing one of your most vulnerable songs to a crowd of people who aren't listening. And I think, Anya, you've dealt with that before. I think as musicians, people talk over you guys way more than they do comedians. It's not like a common thing where I am like performing for people who are not listening and don't want me to keep going and want me to be done. And I think just growing up with a dad who performs, like every show I go to, people are talking the entire time he plays, the entire time. Like it's not even... like it's not like people are like, wow, this is offensive. Some people are like, shush. It's like we all agree we're going to talk the whole time, including me. Like,
right, because he's doing covers. It's not fair, but that's what it is.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But even for I think when I see singer songwriters at like bars or whatever, people are just talking.
Yep,
it's background music. That's the gig. But it was eye opening. But I had an epiphany after that set where I was like, I want to write a clean hour. I just need to for these gigs where I don't have to, like, they don't get that intimate joke that I wrote that is like for people who actually like me. And if you don't like me, I'll just go into my like safe set because that's all you deserve. And not that it would be like worse material, but it's like, I don't want every joke I make to be this like really like reading my diary. Like you don't get to have that.
That's a really good challenge though too, to do just to see what happens. Just to see what happens. If I did an hour clean.
Yeah, well, it's my next challenge. I decided, like, like without question. I don't know if it's going to be my next special, but it's when I start, because my next special is kind of like coming up sooner than I would need to prepare for a clean special. But I'm also like, oh, that's what you got to do in this business. You can't just keep being the same thing over and over. You have to go, oh, here's a way to market it. Nikki Glaser's putting out a whole clean special that you can watch with your family.
Nikki Glaser comes clean.
Yeah.
I think Matt might have come up with that. I'm not
That's
taking
really
credit.
good. I was going to say, I've heard that before. That's really, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chris has been asking me to do it. I think Matt even said something about it too. And it's like, just as a challenge, but it's like, I just don't want to feel that way anymore. Where I was like, I just gave of myself and these people were just like disgusted by me. Not even disgusted, like just disinterested. And it feels really bad.
It's so bad. I had that on Friday night at a show and I was all confident going out to opening up for Nikki and this theater filled with 2,000 people. And then I start my song Girl Shit, which is so quiet and intimate. And I just hadn't set it up properly. And I just lost them. Like within 10 seconds, you can just hear like, and then it's like 1,000 people are just like, can you pass me? Like,
Why were they so easily lost?
they were drunk. They were still entering the theater, which I kind of love that. Like, I love a challenge. I've played thousands of gigs. Like, put me in a bar and grill, I'll figure it out. Like, I pride myself on like being able to play through anything. I just didn't set it up right. And I should have been like, let's bail on this song and do something else. But I didn't bail. I was just like, just keep playing it, just get through it. But it just sucked. And I was thinking in that moment, I need to have quicker outs. I need to have a couple like more like upbeat songs, or I need to have like more exit strategies.
I had the same thing. Like, I think that after that show, I just was like, this cannot ever happen again. That was so deeply uncomfortable and not an experience I would ever even wish on my worst enemy that I went through. And I can't do that again to myself. I'm glad it happened for the sake of like, you know, all the TikToks that come up, all the reels that come up that are like you about failure. I've been getting a lot of them because I guess my phone thinks I need them. But like, I don't know if you guys get a lot of that stuff, but like how Kobe talking about like, if he's not failing, he is not interested in like that's not a process he's interested in. Like, you gotta fail in order to be better. And I was talking to my mom about this set last night when she drove me home, and she was like, you need to just get over it. You know, like, we got to get over it. You're moving on. And I'm like, I am. You asked me how it went. I have to tell you. And I'm grateful that it won't ever happen again. I will never.
How'd that set go, Nikki? Oh, it was really hard. Get over it.
You gotta get over it.
Well, she was so dismayed. Like, for her to hear her daughter, she was like, your dad and I, when you told us about that, we all day yesterday, we just couldn't get over it. We were so upset for you. And it was really sweet because they just were like, you just don't want your daughter. I like felt for them. Like, I was like, oh, I told them like how, like, you don't want your daughter to be embarrassed for an hour on stage. Like, it's not just like 10 minutes of like, oh, that felt weird. Like, think of being embarrassed for an hour, like straight, like tripping over yourself in front of everyone for an hour. It's like for tumbling downstairs. Think of the last time you fell in a crowd. Now just picture falling for an hour and not having to show that you're falling. Like, it's like, that's what it felt like. And it's, and so I think my mom was just trying to like help herself get over it. She's like, we're just moving on from this. Like, it's not going to happen. And I'm like, it won't happen again. Like, I will never. And I will always be prepared for something like that in the future, or I won't do a gig like that in the future, like one or the other. But it did remind me though that you need to fail. It's
so true. You have to be grateful for these failures because they make you better. Like, I killed it the night after I bombed because I was so furious at myself, and I was like, I will not bomb again. And I had 2 great shows. Even Matt was like, that was one of the best shows I've seen you do. Like the second night, because I was so pissed.
Yeah. It lights a fire. Like, I got to get on stage again because that was the last show I did. I was like, damn it. Because everyone goes, you know, I was with my friend and he's like, you're going to be over this in 24 hours. And I was like, I'm not until the next show I do. I'm not going to shake this off. And
Nikki Glaser, the funny bone tonight.
I should run out and get another set. I just want to rest for a couple days. I think, but I should. You're not wrong. I should do my dad actually is performing tonight at the Pasta House. I might just like play a song with him. Maybe do a song. I got to cut my nails though to do a song. Okay, we're gonna have one more episode with Anya Marina tomorrow. You know we will. We're about to record it, so it'll be an extension of this conversation. I hope you are there for it tomorrow on the podcast. Thank you for listening today. Check out Anya Marina. She has a new album, Asteroid. You can get the girl shit shirt that I have that I love so much, and you can order that at anyamarina.com. It says Anya Marina on the back. It says girl shit on the front. It's so fucking cute, so stylish. Really recommend if you want a new shirt in your life that people will love and comment on, and you'll look super cute in. Girl shit, anyamarina.com. And we'll be back tomorrow with more episodes with another episode with Anya. Don't be and bye.